Hey guys, Phil here again. Um, Follow up from the collection. I went to the first spot that I put one of my machines about 2.5 weeks ago, roughly. As one of the U-turns, and I gotta say the collection was actually pretty nice. The amount that I pulled from this machine was in upwards of like maybe $6 and change, which doesn't, in retrospect, seem like a lot. But one of the problems that I had, the coin mech on the U-turn for the gumball machine was acting up. Um, for some reason, when you twist it, it would cut the gumball in half, and then it would jam, and then cause further problems. I took it apart several times and looked at it, and one of the things you got to make sure you do when you use a U-turn or some of these gumball machines, especially gumball machines in particular, is you got to make sure that hole is lined up perfect with the hole that drops the gumball. So when you turn that wheel, make sure that the hole in the wheel matches what's below where it drops through the chute. If that doesn't happen, then you're going to wind up with a jam system. That's kind of what happened to me. Mine was off by a little bit, so when I was testing it out, it let the gumballs through, but then after a while, I think it nicked a couple times forward and caused it to jam. And when that happened, I was losing money because I had a lot of people that were feeding this machine, but they weren't getting their product, and I heard about it. And I got a good rapport with the people who owned the business, so they called and let me know there was an issue. So that was pretty good. So I got in there and I took care of it, lined it up like it's supposed to. Again, this is kind of a U-turn thing because I don't like plastic mechs. I don't like the way it's set up. The rest of the machine's a great machine, but it's just that one feature that I really don't like about it. Other than that, it's smooth sailing. Products. They didn't like the Boston baked beans. That's a hit or miss. Some people like them, some people don't. I'm going to replace those with like a peanut M&M, which, because we're getting into the cooler temperatures, and especially in October leading into further in, we're going to have some nice comfortable temperatures. I don't have to worry about it melting in my machine. Now, it's a room controlled business with AC and whatnot, but you still kind of, where they're at is a nice little warm lobby area. So thankfully I can switch those out. Peanuts doing pretty good, the honey roasted ones anyway. Cashews are a bit pricey, but it's highly requested. The people there love cashews, and I didn't put them in my machine out of the bat. I told them that I'd come back after I got established at Sam's Club to get more candy and more stuff, and then I would start putting in cashews because the price would be a little more favorable to me. It's a hard thing to meter out so that you don't lose on that one, but because it's highly requested, I'm going to do what I can to keep it in there so that hopefully the gumballs and the Skittles and everything else make up for it. That's kind of the goal. In truth, this business has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got about 6 selections is what I put in this business, so they've got plenty to choose from. I was overly generous with my machines there, just so that they have something to use. It's a desolate area, so they've got a lot of walk-in, and there's a lot of people that work there, but there's no snacks around. There's nothing around them that they can get to, like a store. So they're kind of dependent upon these machines, and that's kind of what you really want. You want to put them in places where they're not within foot traffic of a convenience store or someplace. It's convenience candy is all it is. So overall, pretty good. The amount collected, I would have. I'm not going to film the collections. That's kind of between me and the owners of the business. I'm not going to do anything that's going to, I'm not trying to out them or show them or anything like that. Just out of respect to them, I'm not going to carry my camera around and just start videotaping everybody. It's just I'm not doing that. If they decide, I'll ask later. I'll ask them as I go if that's something they wouldn't mind being featured in a video or being brought in later, but for the most part, just out of respect, I'm just going to keep it to the inside the pickup truck where I can talk about what's going on. So pretty good overall haul. So $6 and change roughly. It's nothing to sneeze at after 2 weeks. I gave the machine a good wipe down. I checked the other one, pretty good. But yeah, once I switch out those heads and put peanut M&Ms, I got a feeling that one's going to do a whole lot better. It's heavily requested. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing I got in there that I wasn't expecting to do all that well was chiclets. Now, chiclets are pretty good. It's like a smaller version of the gumball, but you get more. You get a lot more for a quarter. And so I didn't really meter those out properly when I first set that machine. So I'm going to let that one pretty much run the course. And when they run down, I'm going to put something else in there that's going to be properly metered out so it works out better in the long run for all of us. And so that'll be pretty good. So that's pretty much what I've got going on so far. That's the first one machine that I've done about 2.5 weeks ago. And so in about 3 more days, I'm going to my second location that I set, because it'll be within the right time frame, and I'll check to see the progress on that. I'll see how the candy's going down, get an idea of how much is being spent there, get some feedback from the owners and see how they feel about it. A little feedback from the guys that work there, see if they want me to make any changes, anything that they'd like something different. It's very important to talk to the people that you put these machines at. You really want to get to know them, but build that solid relationship between them so that, you know, if anything goes wrong, it's covered. I mean, they work with you, you work with them, and it puts that little extra layer of, you know, kinsmanship to somebody when you are doing, it's your business inside their business. That's a funny thing to say, you know, when you're conducting your business inside theirs, there's a lot of respect that goes both ways, but mainly you got to give them a lot of respect for letting you do it. And so it's good to get to know them really well. It can only benefit you more in the future. Possibly putting another machine in there and something that might do even better. Give them a few more choices. So it's just food for thought. You don't really have to do it, but it's just a recommendation. Hopefully these conversations that I'm having with you, whoever's listening, hopefully they're telling you something, giving you a little foresight into this business that you're jumping into. So, as I said before, I'm not an expert. I am nowhere near expert. I haven't been doing this for years. I've got, at best, 4 weeks into it. But I've been planning prior to that month and a half in advance. Before I started placing machines, I started, you know, really trying to learn as much as I could first. Still a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of trial and error, things I'm going to get wrong. Last thing I want to talk about is repairs. Because this gumball machine, the coin mech, broke down, I had to fix this on site. If you do have to do any fixing on site, bring your bag. Bring a bag with gloves. Bring some sanitizer. Bring anything that makes you look professional. You're being professional, but you also want to carry the image of professionalism at all times. Nobody wants to go to a gumball machine that's been worked on by somebody who's got hands that are just been in the world, especially nowadays. You really want to make sure that you approach these machines as though you're approaching a patient on a table. Sterile hands, gloves, and really just kind of do what you can quickly and be about your way. You know, just get out of the way make sure you're not in the way of anybody at the job site. And just knock it out quickly and say thank you and move on. Test them out and make sure that they are all turning when you leave so that you don't have any further problems. And that's it. I mean, really, it's just the basic stuff. It's stuff that anybody can do. Anyway, hopefully this is informative. I'm hoping that I'm helping somebody out there. I'm trying to give you the same information that, again, I wish somebody gave me. I would have loved to have sat and listened to anybody out there talking about this. Unfortunately, most of the vehicles are about collections. They don't really talk about the repair side. They don't talk about the rapport with the customers. They don't really tell you about what you should put in these machines. When time allows, I'll do another video and we'll talk about the wheel selections as far as how big they should be when you're metering out per cup. There's a great way to do that, actually. All you need is a bathroom cup and a spare bag of your candies and gumballs, and you can pretty much set that on the counter and just kind of measure it as you go, and you'll know what you're spending per cup. So it's a great process. Anyway, this is Phil. I'm hoping you're having a great day. In the meantime, keep selling.